Hear a story and how much of a government Republican representative, how much this guy is a bigot and a fool. Or you're gonna be like, oh, how's that seem, man? Well, wait till the description and the words come out of his own mouth, and you're gonna agree with me. A Republican representative, argues child abuse deaths benefit society. Say what? Oh yeah. GOP REP argues child abuse deaths benefit society. Oh, brace yourself.
GOP representative argued that it is actually better if a child is abused and killed. I kid you not. Here it is.
You know, in the case where child abuse is fatal.
I mean, here it is. I mean, listen to the rubbish and garbage this guy spews out of his own mouth.
Obviously, it's not good for the child, but it's actually a benefit to society because there aren't needed for government services and whatnot over the whole course of that child's life.
Through the chair, can you say that again? Did you say a benefit for society?
Talking dollars. Now, you've got
Yes.
a $1.5 million price tag here for victims of fatal child abuse. It gets argued periodically that it's actually a cost savings because that child is not going to need any of those government services that they might otherwise be entitled to receive and need based on growing up in this type of environment.
Through the chair, Representative, I guess that would be the idea, if I can use a really bad analogy, when you hit somebody, always back up because it's cheaper to insurance. I don't pertain to that, and I'm not even sure how to answer that there's a cost saving to the death of a child. The impact that has on a family and us as a society when a child is lost, especially to child abuse and neglect, is unmeasurable. And it's hugely tragic.
And Philip?
Follow up?
And the way that you're calculating this 1.5 million, and when I say you, I mean the people who did calculate it, does that 1.5 million get higher or lower depending upon the age at which the child is killed?
What if you could do SEO smarter?
I can't believe that astonishing the rubbish coming out of this guy's mouth.
This is why I cannot be a politician. I would have flipped chairs and everything in that room.
Dude, I tell you what, if I was in the same room, this guy was spewing that garbage, I would have raised brimstone, fire, and anarchy. I probably would have flipped chairs, even flipped that damn table over. I'm like, you kidding me? You think it's better for if a child abuse if they die? Oh, it benefits society. Thinking, oh yeah, they're gonna grow up. No, I've heard stories where children get abused or neglected by deadbeat parents that grow up as prosperous adults in society.
All right, let's put him up. The man who says it's cheaper to kill him. Talking about children.
Yep. Kill them all, he says.
Republican Representative David Eastman.
Eastman.
He has now sparked
Classic jackass in my book.
Statements suggesting.
I mean, look, he's got the face of a fucking jackass. Fucking asshole he is.
Whether there could be economic benefits from the death of abused children. Eastman asked a series of questions during a Monday House Judiciary Committee on adverse childhood experiences, such as physical and sexual abuse on children or growing up in a household marred by domestic violence, and how they can negatively affect a person throughout their lives. Now, let me say this. To Eastman, I think you are short-sighted here. I'm going to try to.
I think he's narrow-minded too.
Education and insight. Instead of looking at the byproduct, how about you look at the catalyst, or what we would call the genesis of the problem? While you're looking at the cost for...
Yeah, he's looking about the money value, how much it's going to cost.
The therapy that may be required for a child. What about the preventative costs before it got to that point? What about heart in the public dollars? You see, we're not taxed because we need the government to have a bunch of money. We're not taxed because the government is going to invest our coins and give us a windfall of money. We are taxed so the government can provide services to those who need it.
Yep.
I cannot think of any
Whether
greater
it's
need
therapy,
than an innocent, abused
medication.
child. And sir, you are elected by the people to make policy decisions based on service and not revenue. There's more. As part of the presentation, documents given to lawmakers estimated that when a child abuse is fatal, it could cost the family and broader society $1.5 million in terms of trauma and what the child could potentially have earned over their lifetime. Eastman said that he had heard an argument on occasion that when child abuse is fatal, it could economically benefit society. Let's go to Representative Cliff Grow. Democrat, Anchorage, was disturbed by Eastman's line of questioning after working as a prosecutor on child abuse cases. Representative Andrew Gray, a Democrat, later recounted he and his husband had adopted their child from the foster care system who had several adverse childhood experiences. He said it may not have been intended, but the implication from Eastman's comments was that his child was better off dead. Representative Sarah Vance, Republican, out of Homer, who chairs the House Judiciary Committee, thanked Gray for sharing his story, but neither Vance nor Eastman apologized, nor has the leadership of the Republican-dominated House Majority Caucus yet met to discuss whether Eastman will be punished for his comments. Vance, an abortion opponent, said she could not speak for Eastman, but she believed that he was trying to make a pro-life argument. Really?
Yeah.
She said many people consider abortion to be child abuse, but that abortion supporters have said terminating a pregnancy could be a better option than raising a child in difficult circumstances. That is called spin. According to Self Financial Incorporated, here's what Americans will pay over a lifetime in taxes. Here it is. The average American will pay $480,407 in taxes throughout their lifetime. That's an average of 34.49% of all lifetime earnings spent on taxes. Tax on earnings is where most tax will come from. And the average American paying $255,364 in a lifetime. Owning a car will cost an additional $26,000 plus in tax payments alone. Across the average, 9.4 cars owned in a lifetime. Tax on property will set you back an additional $174,251 above the property price and maintenance. Okay? All right. Everything comes down to an economic configuration for many. We do not elect bean counters. We elect public servants. That's the idea. We would like the money you take from us to go to service for those who need it. I don't see how you missed that, Representative. I don't see where you lost that point. But I am glad that at least some of your colleagues are trying to help you find it again. Doc, thoughts here?
This is an extreme and really shocking example of a logic that I also saw when I was writing my book, Dying of Whiteness, where I was studying Tennessee, and I kept asking, like, why not expand Medicaid and provide health care for everybody? Now, it wasn't quite this overt, but time and again, I heard the message that basically it's cheaper to let certain people die than it is to provide services for them. And the logic people kept telling me was to protect society, exactly like this guy said. This idea that basically if we pay for those other people, that, you know, for a lot of people it was immigrants or undeserving minorities or something like that, that it's going to bankrupt the entire system. And so they would cut away prevention services. They would not support Medicaid expansion, which we still don't have in Tennessee. And in my book, I just did the math exactly like you just did there. And I said, like, what's the system cost? What's the system cost of not giving basic prevention? And believe it or not, I found exactly the same thing that you just found, which is that the cost to everybody was so much greater. The entire system started to fail. People would go to the emergency department when they could have been going for preventative checks, which was much more expensive. People got sick. They waited till they went to the doctor for really severe illnesses. And so the entire system falls apart. But there is this Republican ethos, I think, of deserving people versus undeserving people. Who are we going to pay with our tax dollars, not recognizing that everybody pays tax dollars? And so I just think that, again, this is a very extreme example, but I would just ask people to think about other examples where basically the argument of politics is supporting people is against our economic interests, and that it's cheaper to let people die. And unfortunately, this is not the only instance.
Yeah. See, I don't know where this guy gets off, that Republican representative gets off saying, oh, child abuse death, benefit side, they're better off dying like that. No, they're not, because, there are programs out there to put them into better homes, better facilities, better treatment, better counseling, better medication like that. I remember years ago, I had a girlfriend, and I dated her. She, her parents were foster parents, and two of her sisters and her brother were, also foster sisters and brothers. Brother was kind of a loony, and one of his sisters kind of a nutcase, but still I accepted who they are. They accepted me when I was dating their sister at the time. And as well, I have a friend that's actually married, and she's got a wife, she's lesbian, and she just recently went through paperwork to adopt two daughters that came from broken house like that. And she wanted to bring them to a good house. She took about 6 months with the paperwork and all stuff like that. Well, now she's got two daughters of her own with her own wife that they've been raising together for 3 months. She says there are times they can be a little handful, but most of the time they're good. They're good, and they're in wonderful homes like that, giving good love and structure. Now they do like correct extracurricular activities after school. And she told me that they're actually taking up sports as well. I said that's good. That's good. So it's better up to give them programs than for abused children to say, oh, they're better off dead, like benefit society. So this nutcase doesn't want to talk about. Anyways, I'm out of here. My job. Peace out.